Well, the big political story this week is Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa's race against Senator Brian Schatz during the 2014 election. That's coming from a source familiar with her campaign.
Yeah, it's a Senate seat the late Senator Danny Noe wanted her to have. Our media partners at Civil Beat go beyond the headlines, and reporter Chad Blair joins us live via Skype with more. Good morning, Chad.
Good morning, Jill and Mahia.
So you spoke to national political analysts about this potential Schatz-Hanabusa race. What are they saying?
Well, first of all, I can tell you they're very excited. They said finally Hawaii has an exciting Senate race where it's going to be really close. But they give Brian Schatz the edge, and there's a couple of reasons. One, he's the incumbent. He has seniority, even though he's only been there 4 months. He's very young. He's only 40 years old, so he could serve for a very long time. And finally, he's shown that he can raise a lot of money. He's got over $1 million. A couple of other things. He's got the backing of national Democrats. And if Governor Abercrombie does not face a competitor in the primary, remember that was going to be Colleen Hanabusa until she decided to run for Senate, well, that could really help Brian Schatz because the governor would be freed up to support his campaign.
Well, what strengths does Hanabusa have?
Well, she really has a lot more experience in terms of her time in politics. She's actually been a leader, including the Senate president for a number of years. I think that's very important. She's also female. Women voters vote more than male voters, and I think that's important. Remember, Hawaii right now, amazingly, 3 of our 4 delegate members are female. Finally, there is Dan Inouye. That is the big question. That could be her ace in the hole.
Well, any potential announcement would set off a chain reaction. Meanwhile, Honolulu Councilman Stanley Chang is holding a news conference today about his possible candidacy for Congress. What are the other names floating out there?
Well, first of all, I should tell you this is urban Oahu, so probably it's going to be someone that lives here in Honolulu. Very unlikely someone from the neighbor islands would run for the CD1 seat, although I wouldn't rule out the North Shore or Windward Oahu or Waianae. Remember also that a lot of these folks have come from the legislature and the city council. All 4 of our delegates have served at least in one of those chambers, some of them both. I'm going to throw out a couple of names. Donna Mercado Kim and Willis Sparrow in the Senate, I think, are real possibilities. Maybe Bob McDermott. He's a House representative known to be interested. The big question is, will Ed Case and Mufi Hanneman and Charles DeJoux decide to run for Congress again? Big question. I'm sure they're thinking about it right now.
Familiar names,
yeah,
Chad.
big questions, and it should be a very interesting political season. All right, well, you know, Mayor Kirk Caldwell and other city officials met with Transportation Secretary Ray LaHood in Washington, and they all sounded pretty positive in our stories about rail funding. What else are you learning?
Well, we have a guy in Washington, Kerry Murakami. He's our D.C. bureau chief, and he was actually there and spoke with the mayor. And you're right, very encouraged by what the FTA is telling them. You know, there was really never any concern that that $1.5 billion wouldn't be funded. But remember, you got sequestration and the tight budget cuts going on. I can tell you Caldwell had a pretty big smile on his face yesterday and thinks that rail funding will not be jeopardized.
They certainly did have a lot of smiles. Well, Chad Blair, we're smiling because it's great to see you this morning.
Nice and clear. Nice, clear picture.
Thank you. I apologize for Monday.
No worries.
Well, you can find the complete stories that we've just discussed on civilbeat.com.